So if Trump is not a fascist, not a revolutionary nationalist, or in my jargon, not a pan-genetic ultranationalist, and we had another nice one from upstairs, what was it, autocratic, anti-constitutional populist, yeah? If he's not one of those, what is he? Well, it comes back to the populists. The key to the answer lies in the historical fact that liberal democracy is only one form of representative government, and a very recent and contested one at that. Democracy in ancient Greece was a patriarchal system which excluded slaves and women from power and could accommodate... Oh dear, really? Can we have a populist vote whether I can finish this? Well, anyway, look, I'll try and summarise. I mean, once you grasp historically that democracy is not the same as liberal democracy, it's taken decades and hundreds of years for a whole load of various idealists in various parts of society to liberalise democracy. The process that we're witnessing in populist parties all over the world is the deliberalisation of democracy. I mean, if you look at the AFD, I could give you a whole list. If you look at Modi, etc., they are not trying to carry out the type of constitutional revolution that was carried out by fascist states. If you look at Mosley, he flirts with Labour and Conservative, creates the new party through the British system, and then when that doesn't work, he creates a fascist party which doesn't get in. But the fascist plan or blueprint for Britain was a post-democratic state. Trump, in that sense, is not a fascist. He doesn't, in a sense, need to be. The term that I would really promote is what Viktor Orban calls his new Hungary, which is an illiberal democracy, which he uses with pleasure and triumphalism, and that what people like Trump are trying to do is to deliberalize America, but retain elements of the American tradition of democracy, which was originally, in the 18th century, accommodated slaves and genocide of the Native Americans. I mean, democracy, historically, is not a nice thing for lots of people. So I will get down to the very last bit. Trump has managed to climb the slippery pole of electoral politics to become, for the second time, president of one of the only two superpowers. He has now been given 4 years in which to impose his radical plans for the deliberalization of American politics and the remodeling of the international order to suit US interests. Plans which are sufficiently megalomaniacal, phantasmagorical and inhumane that they include seeing to it that 2 million Palestinians are forced from their homeland, now their houses no longer exist thanks to American bombs, and that Gaza is redeveloped into an Israeli Benidorm after the forced deportation and ethnic cleansing of its indigenous population. So I finish with this. In If This Is a Man, Primo Levi, a survivor of Auschwitz, asked readers to recognise that each tortured, emaciated prisoner of the extermination camp still contained the flickering flame of a human life. This is a leap of the empathetic imagination far beyond the stunted mental capacity of radical right-wing populists such as Trump, Modi, Orban, Wilders, Weidel or Netanyahu, or their more moderate counterparts such as Le Pen, Meloni or Farage. In an interview he gave shortly before his death in 1987, when populism was in its infancy, Levy warned that a new fascism might arise, walking on tiptoe and calling itself by another name. Well, my counter-proposition this evening is that however cathartic and emotionally true it might feel to call Trump a bloody fascist or a fascist, in standard academic terms, he is not one, but something worse. And that worse is a process that's occurring throughout the world, which is the deliberalization or the threat of deliberalization of democracy, which corresponds to the increasing centralization of power in autocracies and the persecution of minorities within autocracies. And if we don't get a human community based on global empathy, we as a species are doomed, because we will not face and control the ecological crisis if we're all at war with each other, both within democracies and without. Thank you very, very much indeed.